Okay, we've had a couple of games affected this week by COVID around the county. Wilmington was set to go on the road to Oil City on Friday night, and Oil City had some COVID outbreaks within their program, so that game is off. Wilmington was able to find an opponent, St. Thomas Aquinas from Louisville, Ohio. That game will be Friday at 7. The Shenango-Elwood game also was announced on Tuesday that it would be canceled. Plenty of outbreaks within the Elwood City program. That's another game that's canceled. Larry, just your thoughts on, here we are, third game of the year, which quote unquote week 2, even though it's the third game. Remember, week 0 counts as a week. What's your thoughts on where we are and if this is going to be a week-to-week thing?
Well, it's a problem. I mean, nobody wants to be in this situation where from one week to another, you don't know if you're going to be playing a football game. I think probably some of the problems with the COVID transmission is occurring in the classroom. I don't know whether or not Elwood is requiring masks. I just think that with the latest pronouncement from the Department of Education and what we're seeing through various school districts, that probably masks in the classroom will make for a safer environment. That's what I think. So I'm hoping that with the introduction of masks at these schools, that the incidence of COVID will be eliminated or at least reduced, and we can get back to a regular schedule.
Yeah. Elwood City is following the mask mandates. I talked to Kurt Augustinelli a little while ago. I will have something in the Wednesday edition of the news in terms of that Shenango-Elwood postponement. There is a state mandate, I believe. So, naturally all the students must wear masks, and, there's parents that are fighting it. Something going on in West Middlesex. I don't understand it. I just don't understand why parents would fight that. Look in the newspaper, and I'm sure not a lot of people will agree with me. And you know what? I don't care. There's over 1 million deaths in around the world, regarding this. Plenty of people have died. This is serious. This isn't child's play. This is life and death. These kids could come down with COVID, spread it to the parents. They could get it, spread it to grandma and grandpa, and the deaths could mount. And there's so many people that are irresponsible with it. They don't want the shot, they don't want the masks, and the alternative is be a stat. Turn yourself into those million plus that are deceased. It'll happen. It's happened.
It's a very delicate issue, and it's affecting football in Western PA. No question about it. And we were anxious for the season. We want to get back to normalcy. And I just think that, whatever precaution you can take to help get us back to normalcy, if I were czar of the world, I'd say, let's take those precautions. What do they say? Rather be safe than sorry. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
But, I don't, how many more games are going to get canceled? There are 2 this week. There was 1 last week, was there not?
Not involving Lawrence County. There were games in Beaver County, I believe Blackhawk, and that's the interesting thing. Blackhawk, and I'm not sure who they played last week. It was a real high scoring game, like 58-33 or something like that. Whoever they played, Blackhawk was playing an opponent, and the opponent evidently had to cancel. So Blackhawk ended up playing whatever school it was, and it might be a Parkway school, because they're playing them twice, and you never see 2 teams playing each other twice in the regular season. You might see it.
Not in football.
No, you might see it in the playoffs, where you could have like Wilmington playing Reynolds in the regular season and then playing them in the championship game. But we're talking whoever Blackhawk played last week, they will play them again in another 2 weeks, and it'll be a conference game.
Yeah, maybe that's the game I saw that was canceled. But unless you get this COVID spread under control, there are going to be more games canceled. It's that simple. I think your newspaper reported there might have been 104 cases of COVID last week in Lawrence County or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
I read it in the paper, and it's a problem. And
Yeah.
so we need to do something about it.
Sure. And I know probably a lot of people watching would say, well, how about you, Poniewasz? Well, where's your vaccination card? May 7th, Rite Aid, Elwood City, Johnson & Johnson. I have been vaccinated. And if there's going to be a requirement for a booster shot, I will get a booster shot. Now, I will ask you, Larry, apparently the shots aren't universal for youngsters under 18. Are they readily available for student athletes or students under the age of 18? Or is that something that's widely available?
Oh, no, I think they're readily available for anybody who wants to get one now.
Okay.
I mean, you can go to Rite Aid and get CVS and get a shot.
All right.
They're readily available for everybody. So It's just basically up to you at this point.
All right. Well, I don't know if you'll agree with me, Larry, because you're in the coaching field. Day one of practice, doesn't matter what sport it is, I'm getting my team in the locker room and I'm saying, who here does not have the vaccination? Show of hands. And you have to have a physical to play sports, correct? I know
you absolutely do. You have to pass a physical.
Okay. All right. So vaccinations have to be treated like physicals. If I'm a coach, I'm saying, do you have a vaccination? No? Then I'm sorry, you're kicked out of the program. And I don't care how talented of an athlete you are. You could be a guy that is a Division I prospect that's ready to go, like an Alabama type for football. You don't have a vaccination, you can't come back until you do. I'm sorry, you're done. And if you want to go to another school, that's fine. Go to another school. But I'm about safety here. And you don't like it, go to another school.
I don't think that's the coach's call. You know, I'm a varsity coach at Chenango High School.
Okay.
I don't know who is vaccinated and who is not on my team. I think that's the call of the superintendent in the school district. They got to make those rules. You know, it's not for Larry Kelly to make those rules.
Sure.
It just isn't. And, you know, we're very careful. You know, we're very careful. You know, we play in a fall league, and it was last week we played at Seneca Valley, and under normal circumstances, we would take school vans, but we didn't. Mm-hmm. And I told the players, you're going to have to get your own ride. I don't want to put 15 kids on a school van and take the chance of spreading the COVID virus. So, I mean, we've made slight modifications, but the issue as to whether or not you should or should not be vaccinated, I think that decision has to be made by the superintendent in the school board of every district.
Okay, fair enough. All right, that is going to wrap up our discussion on COVID, where we're at in the county and as it pertains to football for this week. And we will have one more segment here on Gridiron. We'll be back here.
I became an attorney because I believe in hard work, fairness, and human decency. In a word, justice. Our workers' compensation clients deserve justice because in an instant, their hard work turns into hard times when they get hurt on the job. No doubt, life is tough, but so am I. I've been fighting all my life, and I'll keep fighting for you. I'm Joe George, and here in Lawrence County, it's personal.
Back with you here to talk about the schedule for this week, September 10th. Be week 2 around the county, third week of games. Newcastle is 1-1 at Mars, which is 0-2, and as Joe Cowart mentioned, the Planets are always buttoned up under Scott Heinauer, the head coach. You know, Mars might be 0-2, but they might be a better team than 0-2, and Newcastle's certainly going to have to be prepared for that one.
Statement game for the Hurricane. We're going to know a lot about how good they're going to be this season based upon the results of Friday. I'm betting that the Red Hurricane wins the game, continues to improve. But this is a statement game. We're going to know a lot more about them after the game Friday night.
Yeah, it's a statement game Friday. Next week will be another scrimmage, and then the following week, business will pick up for real. And it's not a conference game in a couple weeks, but boy, business will certainly pick up. Next week they have a game against Summit Academy. That should be like Quaker Valley was last week. Then the following week, Central Valley. and you know how good Central Valley is. So, and that'll be a great test leading into the Parkway battles.
Absolutely.
Shenango and Elwood was canceled because of COVID, and as we sit here on Tuesday night, we're waiting to see if Shenango will be able to find a game. Boy, that's a shame the way that went down, because Wilmington was looking for a game, and as I'm kind of understanding it, that when Shenango was going to find an opponent, Wilmington had just locked up an opponent against St. Thomas Aquinas. So you could have had a trade-off there, one county matchup for another, and Shenango and Wilmington are old foes in scrimmages. They used to get together in scrimmage battles. So that would have been a very interesting game around the county.
That would have been a great game. You know, Shenango played better last week. Unfortunately, their comeback fell a little bit short. Talked to a player today. I think Shenango might be making a few subtle adjustments that I can't reveal, but they're getting better.
Okay. Ambridge 0-2 at Laurel 2-0. Big game for Laurel. Step up in class in terms of classification. Even though Ambridge doesn't have a win, Laurel's looking to build off of those 2 wins. And here's the one that everybody's probably looking forward to. Union 2-0 at Neshannock 2-0. Something's got to give here, Larry. Agree, disagree? We're either going to see Union possibly get a win and keep things going, or Neshannock's going to shut them down and limit them to far less than the 40 points that the Union's been averaging.
I think Union's going to score here. I really do. You know, the question is, can they keep Neshannock off the board? Neshannock's run game's pretty strong. They got some pretty big boys up front. They may control the clock with that running game, but Union's going to put points on the board. Yeah, I mean, their quarterback is special. They create big plays. It's going to be a great game.
Mm-hmm. Rochester 1-0 at Mohawk, which is 1-1. The Warriors held on last week against Cornell for a 14-7 victory, and all the scoring was in the first quarter. The rest of the game, it was just kind of a tug of war. Who can put up the next score? Nobody ever did. Rochester, coached by veteran coach Gene Matsuk of Shenango High fame, Shenango High graduate. So it'll be an interesting game for Mohawk. See how they match up at home against the Rams.
This is a statement game for Mohawk too. It's going to tell us a lot about how good they will be moving forward this season, because Rochester is always good. I saw Gene Matsuk a couple weeks ago. I reminded him that when I was a student teacher over at Shenango, I had him in class. So he seemed to remember. He said, I also wrote an article about him when I was a writer for the Newcastle News. Gene was a hell of an athlete at Shenango, 3-sport athlete, really good, and he's a great coach.
Yeah, great to talk to after the games too. A great guy, knows his business about football. That's for sure. They're always a powerhouse down at Rochester. Wilmington, as we mentioned, the game against Oil City is canceled. The Greyhounds have since found a replacement. Well, that's a quick turnaround too. As I was talking to Brandon Fillion tonight, they had a game last week against West Middlesex that was canceled, several weeks ago because West Middlesex and I believe Greenville or Sharpsville, I believe it was Greenville, they formed a co-op, and they weren't able to get a game. Now all of a sudden, your game gets canceled on Monday, and you got just a few days to lock up an opponent. Couldn't find one for West Middlesex. You had all those weeks, but they're fortunate to find St. Thomas Aquinas, and they will play them.
You are very fortunate this late in the football schedule to find an opponent. You just really are, and I think the co-op was Sharpsville and West Middlesex, if I recall. But yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about St. Thomas Aquinas. They're 0-3. That doesn't mean anything. You don't know who they've played or who they may have had that has been injured and is coming back. But anybody that plays the Wilmington Greyhounds better be ready to play football, because the Greyhounds are going to bring it to you.
Yeah, St. Thomas Aquinas is 0-3 on the year. Lost to Struthers from Ohio, 46-12, I believe it was. Last week they lost to Carrollton, 69-18. So, it's good that Wilmington's going to get back out on the field. I don't know that they would have been happy with having 2 straight weeks off.
No, 1 week off, we talked about it last week, gives you an opportunity to kind of fine-tune what you saw in your opening game. 2 weeks off, you don't want. And so it's good that they got a game here. I'm hoping that the Wildcats can find a game, but this late in the week, I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it happen.
Hey, you never know. Check in with schools around the WPIL that may have lost a game this week to COVID, and get on the horn and check it out. I know Jan Budai is doing that. They're eager to find a replacement. Whether they do, he had told me they're going to give it to Thursday, and I asked him. I said, "Is it possible that you might not play till Saturday, or even worst case scenario on Monday?" He said, "No, we'll play more than likely Friday. Saturday wouldn't be recommended, but I think they're going to try for Friday." Boy, that would be really tough, finding an opponent Thursday and play them the next day with little.
Yeah, how do you get ready for them? How do you scout them? How do you? And I don't know. Maybe that's good. They can't scout you either, but
right.
Hopefully they find a game. You don't want to, a bye week in the third week of the season is not what you're looking for.
Right. Okay. That is what we have for you this week here on Gridiron. We appreciate you joining us, and thank you to Larry Kelly for joining us as always here on Gridiron. Be sure to check back with us next week for more segments, and in the meantime, check us out on the web and read our stories, our content, and everything. And we will see you back here next week on Gridiron. For Larry Kelly, I'm Ron Poniewasz. Stay safe, everybody.